real estate is and has always been one of the best vehicles to create freedom in your life. And in this video, I'm going to give you the 3 main reasons how it can benefit you to create freedom in your life by starting to invest in real estate. If you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Petruso. I own an insurance agency actually, but I also own a real estate investment company, and both of those businesses allowed me to create financial freedom in my life, and I'm making these videos to help you create freedom to make sure that you have control over your life. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I did it using real estate as well as insurance, but this video specifically, we're going to go over real estate and how you need to start looking at real estate because of these 3 main reasons. So I learned about this, like many people did, reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that book, Robert Kiyosaki basically talks about the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset is basically something that pays you every month, and a liability is something that you have to pay for every month. So when I was reading this book, it kind of flipped in my head, and I was like, oh, and he used real estate. A lot of his investments were in, real estate assets. And I am going to go over what I think are 3 of the most important things that will make your life completely in control and how you can get freedom in your life by using real estate. So if you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's a great book. It's not really really practical. It's just a lot of storytelling, and it gets you to change your beliefs. So it's a really good book to start out, just to kind of get your mind about thinking about how assets work and liabilities work, because it's not stuff that we're taught in school. So the first thing that real estate can do that literally no other investment on the entire planet can do is it's something that you literally can live in. Like, that's amazing, right? And if one of the largest expenses and the largest kind of weights on people's shoulders is either their mortgage or their rent or whatever it may be, their largest expense is to pay for where they live, right? So if you know how to invest in real estate properly, and let's say you start out like I did and you invest in a duplex, you fix it up, rent out one half and then live in the other half. I know it's not ideal. I know people are like, oh, well, I want a dream home. And okay, well, you're at where you're at right now and you don't have that and you want to create freedom. So maybe you listen to me first. So first, if you do that, you know that you can always have somewhere to live, and basically the first floor person or second floor, wherever you live, can basically pay for the mortgage, the utilities. So like I was living for free at my second floor apartment, and the first floor was paying all of my mortgage, my utilities, my taxes, and I was even netting an extra $100 a month. And you can do that if you understand that real estate is just a vehicle that allows you to have a place that you always can have a roof over your head to have control of your life. So you don't have to worry, and that's a big thing. If you feel like you're in the rat race and you need to pay for these expenses, well, one of your largest expenses is obviously going to be where you live. So if you can get that out of the way and know that you can always go back, worst case scenario, and live in one of your units, I never had to worry about freedom ever again, because I always had that in the back of my head that I could live like I did for many years in one of my units and have the other tenants basically pay for me to live. And you never had to worry about it. So that gives you so much freedom and so much control over your life when you don't have to worry about one of the largest expenses that most people worry about is where they live. So that's number 1. The second piece is most properties will appreciate in value, meaning the value of what you paid for it will go up over time. So let's say I bought something for $100,000, which I did probably close to 10 years ago now. That property is worth about 170, right? So just by having that property, I've gained $70,000 in value over the course of 10 years. So it has appreciated in value, but also simultaneously, you can depreciate it. So appreciate and depreciate it. So depreciating it against your income on your taxes basically means if this building was $100,000 when I bought it, I'm not an accountant, so you have to talk to an accountant about this. But basically, when a property has certain fixtures that have a lifespan on it, they can depreciate the building over a 30-year period of time, 29 years, I don't know the exact number, but basically every year you get to depreciate the cost of that building over a certain period of time, and you get to deduct that amount off of your taxes. So if you have income coming in from a business or a job or whatever it may be, you can now take some of that depreciation against your other income, and now you can actually start paying less in taxes and appreciating the value of your property, right? And one thing, this is just a little tangent, but like one thing is when you get into like the upper echelons of people with wealth and freedom, things like that, people are like, well, if I have to, if it goes up in value, right, well, I have to pay taxes on that down the road if I sell it. What you'll find out is the wealthiest people on the planet, they never sell anything. So I've never sold any of my properties. I own all of them, and they pay cash flow. So that is why I love real estate, because they pay me every month. So it appreciates in value, and you can depreciate it against your taxes. So that's number 2, right? And the last piece, I think this is the most important piece, because yes, it creates cash flow. I just talked about that in the first, and that's a given, right? Like you're gonna obviously, if you understand how real estate works, it creates a flow of money for, as long as you keep the property, right? And if you buy it right, it will pay you more than what you paid for the property, right? But the last piece is how you create control and freedom and a life that you desire. And this is what I call lifestyle investing, because real estate can become, especially nowadays with Airbnb and VRBO and all these other great programs and systems that basically take you out of having to do all the difficult things that you have to do with real estate. You can have a property all over the world, and you can rent it out days, nights, weeks, whatever it may be. And whenever you want to use it, you can go visit it. And so in the meantime, when you're not there, it's being rented out, it's paying for itself, hopefully it's making some cash flow. But then on top of it, you own a property in a place that you want to go. So like this is what I started doing about 5 years ago. I started investing in places that I wanted to have homes in, right? Like I know I like to have variety in my life and control of my life. So I wanted to start investing in different areas that I like to go to. So if I like to go to Florida, I like to go to Mexico, I like to go to Italy, all these places, right? Well, why wouldn't I buy a place there and set it up on Airbnb? Maybe have a cleaning crew or management team if you need to, take care of it while you're away. They're seeing it constantly because, Airbnbs are pretty quick turnovers. So you know what's going on. And then whenever you want to go, say, hey, I'm going to go to Italy next week or, Mexico next month. All you do is just block off a week or 2 weeks or however long you want to go down there. And now you have a place to stay that you can use that is also now appreciating value and depreciating against your income. Real estate is the absolute best vehicle. I don't care what, NFTs and the metaverse and all this other shit that they're telling you about. You can't live in the metaverse, right? You don't want to live in your parents' basement. The world is too fun to not go out and explore. So that is why real estate allows you, once you start getting in this game and start investing in real estate, you can play the game however you want. You get to create a life where the real estate becomes like literally the game of Monopoly. You start buying places. Obviously, at the beginning, you're probably not going to be investing in lifestyle stuff at the beginning, but you definitely can. Like, depending on what your income is and where you're at in your life, you can just go straight into investing into places that you want to go, and then Airbnb it, VRBO it, whatever it may be, and then you get to now have these luxury properties that you get to live in whenever you want. They make you money when you're not using them, and then they're appreciating in value. It's an amazing vehicle to get into when you're trying to create control and freedom in your life. Real estate by far is one of the best vehicles you will ever run into. I don't think they're not making any more land, as they say. So if you can get into real estate and understand, you might not know anything at the beginning. I didn't know anything, but you gain confidence about doing things. You'll YouTube it, and like the knowledge and the skills are available to you at any time. And when people start talking to me about, well, I'm afraid I'll lose money and this, that, like, you're just basically telling yourself that you are a failure if you don't even try. Because how would you know that something's going to work out or not? There's no possible scenario that in the world that you know 100% of all of the scenarios that could ever occur. The only thing you do know is if you don't do anything, that is a guaranteed 100% chance of failure, right? So I always tell people, don't worry about the number so much that you don't make any decision at all. If it makes sense, pull the trigger, and what's the worst that can happen? They're not going to come and take you, to prison because you made a bad choice. I've lost a lot of money on real estate in short periods, but I've made a lot more, and they pay me every single month. So it's much better than most people make it out to be. Nobody's gonna be calling you in 2 o'clock in the morning to fix their toilet. It doesn't happen, right? And if it does, why would you go up and do it, right? Like, just pay somebody to do it. That's crazy. But this is just a video to explain to you how real estate can literally change your life. It's changed my life. It's changed so many of my friends' lives, about how you can take control of your life by things that you manage and control and own that appreciate in value. You can depreciate against your taxes. You can create a life where you want to live, and you can live in it if worst case scenario ever came. Like, it's literally the only thing that's ever going to exist that has those benefits. So if you thought this video was helpful, like, subscribe, comment below. And if you want to learn more about real estate and how to invest in real estate, I'll put a link in the description below, how to get a hold of me. Send me a message on Instagram, MOVMATT, and hopefully I can help you out. Peace. Create freedom.